Welcome to the Twisted Librarian, the curated crime podcast with your friendly neighborhood crime junkie, Raidyn. Disclaimer. Today I will dive into the chilling story of Brandy Odom, an unsettling story of manipulation, greed, and cold-blooded murder. But first, I want to make something abundantly clear. Brandy Odom mattered. Her life was worth infinitely more than a $200,000 insurance policy or whatever the next John was willing to pay. It's crucial to understand that sex trafficking doesn't have a one-size-fits-all look. Each story is different, and all too often, victims like Brandy are unfairly criminalized or vilified. Brandy did nothing to deserve the horrific fate she met. She was a victim of sex trafficking, regardless of any labels that society might try to impose on those caught in the life. Brandy mattered, and today, I'm sharing her story because she can no longer speak for herself. Welcome to the Twisted Librarian, where we illuminate the shadows of injustice and give voice to those who've been silenced. Brandy's story. Brandy Odom was a vibrant 26-year-old woman with dreams and aspirations until life was stolen by someone she should have been able to trust. Corey Martin saw a vulnerability in Brandy, which used that against her. He trafficked Brandy into a never-ending cycle of commercial sex exploitation. You may recognize it as prostitution, but we know better. We know that people being trafficked are not supposed to be labeled as criminals. Brandy's existence was manipulated by Corey Martin, a man who treated her as nothing more than a means to an end. As her pimp, he had total control. He would even make Brandy go naked while in the apartment. She wasn't extended any human decency. The year was 2018. And in Queens, New York, a cruel plot unfolded. Brandy was brutally murdered in Corey Martin's apartment, her body dismembered and found discarded in Canarsie Park in Brooklyn. Corey Martin orchestrated this horrific crime to cash in on a $200,000 life insurance policy he illicitly set up in her name. Brandy was betrayed by Martin and his accomplice, Adele Anderson. To them, she was merely a pawn in a greedy game. Her humanity dismissed, Brandy was worth more dead than alive. What a dangerous place to be. Brandy's life was brutally ended, and the cause of death, strangulation. If that wasn't enough, her body was later dismembered and discarded. This horrifying act was part of Martin's attempt to cover his tracks, reflecting the depths of his depravity. His motive for murder nestled in a life insurance policy. So, how did Corey Martin execute his plan? A blend of manipulation and sinister intent that seems made for Hollywood crime shows, but with devastating real-world consequences. Corey wasn't just a puppet master pulling Brandy's strings. He was a cold-hearted opportunist driven by greed. She was already broken and dehumanized under the control of Corey in The Life, the perfect pawn. Her poor family discovered her murder while watching the news. An identifiable matching tattoo, the word chocolate. How devastating for her family. He was a pimp that grew tired of waiting on small payouts from the demands of random Johns. Obsessed with shows like Dexter, he began studying these shows as early as March 2017, more than a year before he would follow through. Talk about premeditation. Cold, calculated. Corey Martin mistakenly thought he could mirror the fictional criminals he watched, tricking himself into believing he could outsmart the system. He and Adele set up a fraudulent $200,000 life insurance policy on Brandy, planning to profit from her death, reducing her to mere dollars and cents in his twisted enterprise. Brandy was property, not human. She could make him a quick small buck, or he could erase her and cash out. However, he left a trail of breadcrumbs that led to his demise. His digital footprint, a roadmap of internet searches and incriminating evidence, revealed a detailed description of his plan. With the help of his accomplice, Adele Anderson, he wove a web of deceit, but every move he made only tightened the noose around his own neck. The forensic evidence was damning. Martin left his fingerprints on the electric saw and cleaning materials used in the crime. His digital footprint included internet searches detailing dismemberment techniques, and discussions with his accomplice revealed their morbid plans. These pieces of evidence were critical in piecing together the narrative of Martin's guilt. Despite Martin's confidence, fueled by crime shows, the investigators methodically assembled a case that left no room for doubt. His belief in fiction's protection ultimately led to his capture and conviction. In March 2024, justice was served. Corey Martin received a life sentence, ensuring he could no longer harm others. Brandy's story stands as a powerful reminder of the importance of justice and why it must be pursued relentlessly.